Hi guys, welcome to The Drop. I'm Maha and today we'll be discussing the documentary drama The Last Czars. Hi Hatim.
Hello Maha, thanks for having me back.
You're most welcome. So Hatim, there's mixed reviews regarding this series and many have said that it lacks historical accuracy. Would you agree?
It does, because the problem is that the Russian Empire's history is very complex and very diverse, and Tsar Nicholas was obviously the last Tsar in the Russian Empire, and his failures as the last Tsar were well documented and very long. And the problem is that it jumps straight into the story, into his coronation. As you might recall, Tsar Alexander III dies, jumps right to Tsar Nicholas's coronation.
And Rasputin comes in.
Exactly, and there's no sense of sequence as to when the Japanese War starts, when the First World War erupts, and what that means for the Russian Federation and for the empire and for his rule. So when you miss out on those key historical facets, then you miss out on what would make Russian history so interesting and so deep.
Absolutely.
I was actually reading this article in The Guardian recently, and they talked about how the season Chernobyl, people in Russia love that season because it's so accurate, down to the very last detail. The dustbins in those seasons were still accurate to what were at that time in Chernobyl, and yet this is so inaccurate, people are making fun of it. They're like that.
But it did have some really, well-known historians such as Simon Sebag Montefiore, who is, he knows his Russian history.
Definitely.
But I mean, would you agree that it's just because it's 6 episodes long, maybe it didn't have that depth, or?
No, I think it's not just the fact that it's 6 episodes. We've seen a lot of documentaries on Netflix. Ken Burns' documentaries on the Vietnam War, that's also 6-7 episodes, but it's also very well researched and very, very thorough. The problem with this is that the season doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a documentary or a dramatization? Like you're stuck with a mixture of both, and I really hate that in the very emotionally tense moments you're stuck with suddenly that Simon dude steps in and he's like, hey, this is what happened, and no, I don't want a break in my
you want it just to keep going.
The flow has to keep going, and that it breaks the momentum of the season. So maybe perhaps that's why they weren't able to delve into the history that much, which is why they actually gave a lot of time to Rasputin instead, which it didn't make sense to me.
It did not make sense to me as well. And speaking of Rasputin, how did you find the accents, the northern accent of Rasputin?
I had no idea that the Russian Empire was Anglo at the time, because they're all British people.
All of them.
But I will credit them at one thing: the actors look uncannily like their counterparts. Rasputin, the actor that played Rasputin, is almost a twin.
And Nicholas as well.
And Tsar Nicholas as well. And the cinematography, the set design, the costumes, they're all beautiful. But obviously you can get lost in the beauty of the season for just a bit, but then you realize that there is so much missing in this.
Absolutely.
It could have been great, but I think they didn't put the extra effort into it.
So do you believe, Hatim, they did justice to the drama?
I think if you want to know more about the Romanovs, you're better off with a normal documentary rather than the season, because they've dramatized a lot of the things. They've made the affair, the whole Rasputin affair, very very sensational and all that. But you miss out on the actual tragedy of the events, this was not only the end of a 400-500-year-old Russian a Russian royal family, but also they killed children. They killed a lot of people.
I feel that they should have given more time to the ending where they all were,
definitely, because it was a very tragic event in Russian history, and the Russians actually recognized it only after the Soviet Union dissolved. So they recognized in 1996 that the Tsar Nicholas and his family, they were patron saints of the Russian Orthodoxy Church, and they were recognized as martyrs. Otherwise, they were not. People didn't even know up till 1922 that they were actually dead. So there are so many things missing from its history, and they could have done so much more with this season. I don't think it actually delivers on the fact that it's actually a historical documentary. It's more like a historical drama. It evokes the Romanovs, but it's not about the Romanovs.
So what would you rate it out of 10?
Out of 10, like it's a solid 5.
Solid 5.
It's a solid 5.
Thanks for coming today, Hatim.
Thank you, Maha.
That's all for today, guys. Stay tuned for next time. You are watching The Drop.
We're really excited to share fantastic content with you
on all the fun topics.
Please subscribe to our channel by
clicking on the subscribe button below.